Have you ever done a podcast before?
Yes, just I would say one.
Which one?
This one is in Canada.
Oh, you did a Canadian podcast before you did this is your American debut?
This is my first American debut podcast.
That surprises me because you're such a stud.
Yeah. I can't say I've done many podcasts. I've done a lot of video, but you know, but the first podcast was with a Canadian company. Yeah.
Podcasts are cool because you can just. This is a part of the work that I really, really love because you can get into the weeds and you can flesh things out and you can go down every little nook and cranny.
Yep.
Obviously, the writing of the stories is really important because it gets it out to more people. But personally, like our first conversation, I just loved our first conversation.
Oh, man, we had a good time, didn't we?
We did have a good time.
Gosh.
And you were so kind. You said some really important things that I'll never forget to me. And I was just like, yeah, it's a reminder why I do this work.
Oh boy, that was a great conversation. I've been watching you since then.
Have you?
Yeah, you're knocking it out, man.
Stalking me from afar.
I watch you because I love what you do.
Thank you.
And you've been consistent.
Thank you.
You've been consistent, and that's how you change a community.
Yeah. I want to riff on that for a second because I think you're absolutely right. I think with looking at all the communities that I've had the privilege of working with, like everybody has really great ideas. Yep. Everybody knows what the problems are. Right. Everybody knows what the answers to those problems are. But where things really start to break down is keeping at those solutions for long enough for them to work.
That's right.
You know, like we all get really fired up about a thing and we dive into that thing and then at the first challenge or just, we're 6 months in and we thought this was going to take a week.
Yep.
Things start to fall apart and then what always happens is 3 years, 4 years later, that same issue rises to the surface and people are like, oh, here's the answer that we tried 4 years ago. We should have just stuck at it. So I think you just got to be consistent.
Yep. Consistency.
Yeah. We chatted a little bit on the phone talking about like what do you want to talk about, and you came up with 4 things: life, family, fatherhood, and leadership.
Yes.
And you're like, I want to talk about these 4 things, and let's just let it rip.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about your life because I really love your story, and for the folks that might be watching this or listening to this that don't know, I think it's important to kind of give them a little bit of context. First, give me like a 101. Who is Brian Pruitt and what does he do?
Brian Pruitt is a father of 4. The husband of Dr. Delisha Pruitt for 30 years.
The brains behind the
Yes,
operation.
the brains behind the operations. For 30 years, we've been married. I've got 4 awesome kids, 3 daughters and a son. I have traveled as a motivational speaker for the last 28 years.
Whoa.
So my life, the way I've made my living, has been on the road, traveling keynote speeches for corporations, churches, schools, colleges, and men's conferences and family conferences as well. I'm also a leadership trainer. And so that has been those things. That's how I've made my living. The way I make my giving is in my community is through an organization called Power of Dad that we started over 20 years ago. And we work with men and fatherless boys.
I just want to tell you before this work started, and it was just kind of an idea. You were like one of the first people that somebody told me I should talk to.
Awesome.
They're like, you should talk to Brian Pruitt, Power of Dad. He came and spoke. You spoke at something he was at.
Okay.
And he was like, you got to really connect with Brian Pruitt. And look, here we are.
Well, I'm glad we did, man. I'm glad we did.
Yeah, me too. I'm so impressed by that, like 28 years of being a public speaker, because I've done it for a couple years, and it's a grind.
It is.
Man.
It is a grind, and what you know is you really got to be called to it. That's the thing. Is it your calling? Is it your purpose in life? And that's what's kept me in the game.
Yeah. You're so good at it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're so good at it. Talk to me about how you ended up here. How did Brian Pruitt, the motivational speaker, the men's conferencer, the man, end up here today?
Yeah. A lot of consistency. We talked a little bit about that today. A lot of consistency. I've had many opportunities to go in different directions, but purpose matters to me. Purpose matters to me. And so I am a stickler for purpose. I believe that I was born for a reason.
And originally that reason was to play football.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Originally that was football.
Yeah.
And I had two dreams as a kid, Fearless. And one was I was a kid who in the backyard pretended to score the last second touchdown to win the game. Okay. You know, we all did that. Oh my God, he scores, he win the game. I did that a million times in my backyard till I could do it for real on physical football fields. And the other dream I had as a kid, which was a little bit strange and a little bit different that I'm sure not a lot of kids played, I'd close my door and I would begin to write speeches. And I would write speeches. I would get my cassette recorder, push those two buttons on the cassette recorder, man, and I would let my imagination run
Really?
wild. I spoke in my bedroom. I spoke around the world. I spoke to everybody. I spoke to millions of people in my, my bedroom.
Behold my people.
That's right. But here's what I discovered. At 53, what I can look back now and see is sometimes we think we're playing, but the truth is you're actually practicing. I was practicing, and I didn't know it.
I love that because, I mean, even if you're thinking about in the public speaking world, like sometimes folks get into it because they think that they should, and this is the source of income for them, or this is the next step professionally, but they don't necessarily have the experience of it or the practice of it, and so the learning curve ends up being really, really steep. And like you can speak to from experience, like the public speaker you are a year ago, even 28 years in, is not the public speaker that you are. Like, it just takes time. And here you are as a kid, like already putting in the reps in your room, practicing.
Right. So I was practicing and didn't even know it. And so that's how I came to be.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about your life. So here you are having these two dreams.
Yeah.
Where does it go from there? Where does life take you from there?
I end up chasing after that dream for football, and I do rather well at it.
Yeah, you do.
A lot of that has to do, I'm grateful for the people I got a chance to play with and the coaches I played for who put me in a great situation. So I ended up going to Central Michigan, playing football there, played with a great group of guys, became Central Michigan's first All-American, AP first team All-American. I'm battling it out my senior year in college for the nation's leading rusher with the Heisman Trophy candidate at that time, who was Rashaan Salam. God rest his soul, he's passed now. Yeah. And my life changed drastically within 24 hours.
Tell me about that.
I'm one of the nation's top running backs. I'm expected on the NFL draft night to be drafted highly. My life's about to change. My childhood dream is about to become true. I've been to the NFL combines. I've done everything that you're supposed to do, right? And they discover at the NFL combine that I had an issue with my spinal cord. And literally, overnight, my life began to change.
What was the issue with your spinal cord?
Spinal stenosis, which is, at this point in time in history, not so much of a big deal. But at that time in history, they were weeding it out of the NFL because many guys with that particular symptom or issue they were breaking their necks. Yeah. And I was a part of the first group of guys that they said, what?
Really?
Nobody's bigger than the Shield. In their mind, there'll be another big, fast, strong running back that'll come along, and they are, right? And so I was the first group of people who were weeded out for that particular issue.
Did you get like a letter? Did they call you on the phone? Like how did they break that news to you? That
I got a call. It was actually NFL draft night.
Oh.
I'm sitting in my uncle Terry Pruitt's house. We're all there together, me, my family, my mom, the Saginaw News.
Yeah.
Everybody's there.
Yeah.
They're expecting, I'm expecting, I'm getting drafted tonight. Phone finally rings. It's my agent, and he tells me, Pruitt, we got a problem. I said, well, what's the problem? And he says, while you were at the NFL Combines, here's what they found. Now, I knew they were leery about something on that day because you go through all type of physical exams, and they start pulling me aside and sending me into more x-rays and those things like that. And so everything just changed. Within 24 hours, I went from a NFL prospect to this ain't happening in 24 hours.
What was that like? So you hang up the phone with your agent, and then what happens next?
I tell my family, the news, the Saginaw News literally take pictures of the moment.
Oh, really?
There is a picture in the paper of the moment when this happens.
Wow.
Yes, and I'm sitting there. Recently, I've seen this picture recently.
Wow.
You're going through old stuff.
Yeah.
And I see this and I go, oh, that's that picture. That's that moment, right?
Wow.
And, it's an interesting look to see what it looks like in a young man's eye when his dream dies. That's an interesting look to be captured in time.
Yeah.
But I would say what's more powerful is the look that a young man gets in his eyes when he learns to dream again.
Tell me about that.
Yeah.
Because you get this news, this devastating news. I mean, like football has been your life, and it's going to be your life and your future. And like everybody, like you're the best. You're one of the greatest. You're the best. This is your future. And then it goes away. What happens after that, and how do you dream again?
Yes. So I keep trying to go back into the NFL for a number of years. 3 years probably after that moment as a free agent. I keep getting shut down, and then I begin to realize, Brian, it might be time to move on. And here was a turning point. You're asking about the turning point. Yeah. I'm living in Detroit at the time. My wife comes home. She's in medical school, and she says, we need to talk. Any man knows that means any man knows that means your next statement is, what did I do?
Yes,
right? What did I do?
I'm in trouble.
That's what I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh boy, right? And she said something that really changed my life. And it was one of those moments, Phil, where you realize, oh my God, I married the right woman. She said to me, she comes home from school, medical school, and we sit down and she says, we need to talk. And I says, okay. She says, I need my husband back. And I said, what are you talking about? I'm sitting right here. And she says, no. She says, the man I married was joyful. He was passionate about life. He believed in purpose, and he didn't lay down for anybody. And she said, you were all-American for everybody else. I need you to be one for me now. I need you to get up. Because she knew I was dying. I was alive, but I was dying. I was somewhat of a walking zombie, and just looking for purpose again. Yeah. And when she said that to me, it was like the scene in Rocky where the music plays. Dun, 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 right? That was the moment I realized, A, I married the right woman, and B, I had made a decision. Brian, you're 20-something years old. You got the rest of your life to live. What do you want to do now? You were great at that. You got to get up and be great again at something else. And this is why I live by, one of the mottos I live by is go be great, GBG. And it comes from that era of my life. So, Phil, I remembered my second dream at that moment. My second dream was I wanted to be a speaker. And then I got some courage to go run after it.
One, your wife is incredible.
Thank you.
I also want to give her credit too, because you mentioned that if you get this devastating news, but then you still keep trying, and you're trying for 3 years.
Yeah.
And like I want to give her so much credit, because I think it would have been easy for her to kind of swoop in right after that devastating news and say, like, okay, like, put that dream away. We've got to
Right.
move on.
Right.
Little Brian, it's time to
Yeah.
that we grow up now. But it sounds like she didn't say that. She gave you space and she gave you time
Yeah.
to fight it out and to keep trying and keep fighting. And then after that 3 years, and she started to see what was happening to you.
Yes.
That's the timing of it. It sounds like the timing was also right.
Yes.
For her to step in and say, like, I need you to be an All-American for me now.
Yep.
And for us now.
Yep. And I would, you know what, it made me love her even more. When you married a good woman when she's willing to pick you up and say, okay, let's go dream again.
Yeah.
And so forever, just forever, and grateful for Delisha and the role she played in helping me to get back up during that time.
I have a list of quotes that I love from our first conversation together.
Oh, okay.
And one of them that I really love speaks to this, and it speaks to to men. You start off this topic encouraging men to find someone in their life, to connect with somebody in their life that can speak to them, that can help them, that can motivate them, that can fire them up, whether it's a wife or a partner or a friend, or you need somebody that is there to support you.
That's right.
And you said, then I think of my wife, and when she tells me something like, honey, you got this, you can do this. When she says something like that, the world better watch out.
Yeah.
Because at that moment, I'm not just doing it for myself, I'm doing it for my baby. To those surrounding a father, never devalue the voice that you have in a man's life.
Yeah.
Men love to fight for somebody. We love to be the hero of the story.
Yeah.
When you tell them that you love them or that you're proud of them, watch how their chest sticks out. Watch how they go to work.
Yeah.
Watch how hard they dive in and lean into the things of this world. Inside of every man is a little boy who still needs to hear those words from the people who love him. And when he hears it, I promise you, that little boy inside him will stick out his chest a little bit more, lean into the world, and go to work.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's true. There's a boy inside of every man.
Mm-hmm.
And not only can his parents speak into that little boy, but his wife has the ability to speak to that person, that king, that little boy inside of that man. And when you do, and you connect with him, watch what he'll do. Watch how he'll spread his wings and fly. And the opposite is when we don't. When we don't, here's what happens. I have seen it time and time again in my travels and speaking to men. What happens is there's a quiet quit. They don't even have to leave to quit. Sometimes being there and giving up and going silent is worse than actually physically leaving. And I minister and speak to many of men who are still present but gone, silent, quiet quit.
It also speaks, I think, like culturally right now, one of the broad general topics is like male loneliness, and social isolation and things like that, and you're seeing like an increase of depression, and like depression is also a cycle that continues to isolate you from other people, and I think what you're saying just has so much value to the cultural moment that we're living in. Is like, one, yes, like men, we absolutely have to do our work, and we have to make good decisions. Like, you could have listened to your wife trying to motivate you and been like you don't understand me. Like, this is my dream, and you don't get to tell me what my dream is. You could have made the wrong decision in that moment. So, like, men, we are absolutely responsible for our own well-being. But I think what you're saying here in this moment is, we also have a responsibility to other people, the men in our life, the people in our life, to speak life into them and say, like, I love you, and this is why I'm telling you this, and you can do so much more. And like we have that responsibility to other people.
Yeah, and we need to be open to that from the people that we know that love us as men. If you know they love you, they should have a voice to encourage you, to challenge you. Okay, and who else is going to tell you? Yeah,
that was. I'm gonna be transparent. When I got married, here I am, like a fiercely independent
Yeah.
person, and I know what I'm doing, and I know where I want to go and what we need to do, and all the,
Yeah.
check, 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 check. And then here comes this wife of mine, telling me that I'm doing something wrong, or
Right.
maybe you should do this, or like
Yeah.
all that, like, how dare you?
That's right.
And like, to be honest, like that was part of the acclimation to getting married. Is like I had to
Yeah.
realize like there's a reason why she's here, and sometimes the reason is to tell me I'm doing something wrong, or I
Right.
need to change course, or you're not showing up for me or for us and our family in the ways that you should.
Yeah.
And you got to learn how to hear that.
That's right. Yeah. And be open to it. There's when you get married, there is, I think you hear the statement, when two become one, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I've learned after 30 years of marriage is that day when you say I do, it's not that you necessarily become one.
Mm-hmm.
It's you start becoming one. You the process has started. Because the truth is after 30 years of marriage, what I know now is we're still becoming.
That's so good.
We're still becoming one, right? But what I've learned too, Phil, after 30 years of marriage is, man, I'm learning to enjoy the becoming. To enjoy the becoming. There's some hard parts. There's some easy parts. There's some ups. There's some downs. There's some good times. There's some tough times. But I'm not going anywhere, and she's not going anywhere. We're becoming.
That's the beauty of like the commitment part,
Right.
because like if you don't make that commitment, you miss out on the becoming.
Bingo.
Because like husband to husband, we're talking about like things can get really, really tough and intense.
Yes.
And then that independent person inside of you bubbles up, and you're like, oh, like, but you gotta chill out, and you gotta fall back on that commitment, and then you got the becoming.
Yeah.
I think is so good, because the culture, the impression that you get, that everybody gets, is that you fall madly in love,
Right.
and you say I do,
Yeah.
and then they say, you know what, sometimes it's going to be hard, but it's going to be great because you love each other.
Yeah.
And that does such an injustice to like the
That's
reality
true.
of it.
Yeah.
Because it very much sends this message that you are now married, and every once in a while you're going to have a little disagreement, but mostly things are going to be amazing, when it is so much a process of just becoming married and becoming a deeper, stronger relationship. It's just, I love that.
It is. There's seasons. And there's seasons where you go, boy,
Yeah.
did we do the right thing here?
Right?
And then there's seasons where you go, boy, I wouldn't want to do this with anybody else.
There's a great a therapist, Terry Real. He speaks specifically to relationships and men and male depression and things like that. And he said something once, and I'm going to misquote him, but he said something like, the day that you wake up next to your spouse and think, this isn't the person that I married, is the first day of marriage.
Wow, that's good.
And I love that, because it really embraces this idea of like becoming one. It's like it's everything's great when we're playing pretend and everybody's perfect and you're exactly the person I want you to be.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the reality that doesn't really exist in the real world, he's like, welcome to marriage.
Yeah.
Like,
now
this is the first day of the rest of your marriage.
There you go. The first day of the rest of your life now.
Yeah, right. So your wife has this really kind of momentous confrontation with you, saying like, I need you to be more. What do you do? Like, how do you go on from there?
First thing as I did is, for me, I went back into just prayer, doing what I knew to do. Okay, what's my passion? What else do I love doing? And I remembered at that time the other thing that I loved doing was speaking. And I was already doing some of it, but I wasn't vested. I wasn't totally vested in, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Had not taken the risk to do it for a living. And so at that point, I started taking some risk, making business cards. When people would say, hey, Brian, what do you do? I would have the courage to say, hey, I speak. And they would go, really, about what? And sometimes I had a good answer, and sometimes I didn't.
I love that too, just because like sometimes people ask you what you do for work and you feel ashamed, and
Right.
you just start kicking rocks. Well, I kind of do stuff,
That's right.
and
That's
it's
right.
not a big deal.
Yeah.
But so it does take practice to say I do this for a living,
It does.
and I'm proud of it.
Yep. And to look them straight in the eye, right? So I would tell them. Sometimes I give an answer and go, why did I say that? I'll tell you the most terrifying thing, Phil, was when when they liked it and they go, oh, really? Do you have a card? And you'd be like, oh, no. You want a card. So you reach in your pocket, you hand them a card, your hand shaking, right? And you walk away, you go, oh, my gosh, what if they call?
What if... That's true. And, you can't just pretend anymore.
That's right. And the truth is people start calling, right?
Yeah.
And when they would call, one of the things that my mom taught me was be prepared.
Yeah.
One of the things my mentors, I had some great mentors, be prepared. One of the things sports taught me, be prepared for the game, right? And I think what would happen is I would show up, people thought they were going to get an athlete, and they found out I had something to say. They found out that I was authentic, that I actually cared. I meant what I said. I just wasn't a talking puppet. There was a connection that I could make with a crowd, and that came out of genuinely caring about who I was talking to. The fear when I would walk on stages subsided because it wasn't, what I have found out was when I was terrified, it was more about me. If I could just focus on the fact that I genuinely care about people, my fear would leave, and then I could go out and actually help people.
That's interesting that you say that, because that's something that Simon Sinek talks about in public speaking. He said, like, the question is, what can I give to these people? And that's his this is how you deal with stage fright. It's like when you take the focus off you, and I'm trying to speak really well, and I'm trying to persuade everybody and be very impressive and witty, and I'm going to make them a standing ovation at the end. Like, you're going to freak out.
Yeah.
But if you say, like, I need to give these people something that I feel is very important, it takes that focus and says, this is about you now, and I'm here to serve you as opposed to impress you.
That's right. So I started doing that, and I was doing it quite often in schools, high schools, junior high schools, and then it just grew from there. It grew from there, and so I was able to live my second dream, and I'm still doing that at this point in time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so wonderful. I just love this. I love this for you because it says, like, let's dive into this rabbit hole and talk about this. So that moment that your life had been leading up to the NFL draft.
Yeah.
This isn't like a month from now, 6 months from now, I'm going to be in the draft and I get this, like, the night of.
Oh yeah.
And you get the call. Many people, honestly, like myself included, would have said, like, this is the ultimate failure of my life. Like, this is the end of everything. This is like I'm just gonna go, like, work someplace else. Like, I'm giving up on everything because, like, this was my one shot and I lost it. And honestly, like, bitter as well, because, like, I did everything right. Like, I'm one of the best.
Right.
And there's this pesky little spine thing that's disqualifying me. Like, this is over. So in your experience, like, how do you navigate failure? Because, like, we all fail every day. Yeah. And it's really not so much like what you can do, it's how you navigate failure. So how do you navigate that?
Everything you're saying about that moment was true. I wanted to hide under a rock.
Yeah.
Just couldn't find a big enough one.
Yeah, you need a pretty big rock to hide under.
I obviously live in the wrong part of the country. I needed Arizona or something. They got boulders out there.
Yeah, cliff or something.
So everything within me wanted to hide under a rock. The hard part about being an athlete at that height was everything I did was visible.
Yeah, true.
And so the failure of it was visible.
Yeah.
It was on front cover of the newspaper. It was, I ended up going back to my campus at CMU to finish my degree. My last year, when I walked on my campus, it was, you
Yeah.
know,
And then I'm sure you have like people reminding you of it.
constantly.
I think in our first conversation you mentioned like you ended up working at a bank.
I end up,
And people would come in like you're Brian Pruitt?
Yes.
Like, yeah, I'm Brian Pruitt, like the CMU guy, like the one of the all-time leading rushers.
right.
Like, yeah, that's me.
It was hilarious because I'm getting up right in life. I'm getting back up right now, but there's stages to getting up. You don't just start speaking and doing it for a living right away.
Yeah.
You get a job, you speak on the side, you build your speaking business until you can leave your job.
Yeah.
And I was working at a bank, and I was a teller. And a loan processor. People would come in, and they would go, and this was down in Detroit, Ann Arbor area, and they would go, "Boy, you look familiar."
Yeah.
And I'd be thinking, "Nah, you don't know me."
Yeah.
They would go, "Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Aren't you Brian?"
Yeah. That's like,
weren't you in all the? They were like, "Weren't you just in the draft?
Yeah.
What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
And in those moments, it's not that those are bad jobs. It's just that nobody expected to see me at that place.
It's true.
Then I was working with the youth ministry down there, youth group, and underprivileged kids who were in trouble. So we would go and work the University of Michigan football games to raise money to get the kids to go on missions trips. And we'd be out serving popcorn and stuff like that. And, somebody would stop me in the middle of the game and go, "Brian Pruitt, what are you doing serving popcorn?"
Yeah. 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 So here you are experiencing not only failure, but very public failure.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're also being reminded of that failure.
Constantly.
So looking back on it, what are the keys?
How did I navigate it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And number one, let me give honor to my mother. Number one, my mother, Joyce Pruitt, man. This one makes me emotional. She built a man. She built a man. My mama taught me. I've watched my mom go through some things, and I watched her get up. And you never know how much what you're modeling to your kids mean until they need it. And I knew what it looked like to get up. I modeled work ethic after my mom. I modeled persistence after my mom. Getting up for me at that time and navigating was I had a lot of people coming to me asking questions, but most of all, it was making sure I had the right people around me asking me the right questions. Questions are going to come. I pull close to my mentors. Okay, I made my world real small. Outside of me leaving my house to do what I needed to do, I made my world real small. Not out of depression and not out of isolation, but out of protection for what was to come next out of me. I felt like I was incubating my baby so that I could give birth to something again in my life. And everybody couldn't have the say-so when it came to that. So what I began to do, I stayed close to my mentors. I stayed close to my childhood buddies, people that I came up with who wasn't going to let me stay down no way. Okay? I made my world small, but I made my world matter. The people who were in my inner circle are the people who were not going to let me stay where I was at, and I knew it, and they would help me get up. And those were the only voices I was really listening to at that. I had learned to block other voices out, and they meant well.
Yeah.
I never responded angry to them or in a rude way. They meant well. They just had questions. You mattered to them. You were their favorite, or they were rooting for you, right? But at that time, I had to make my world small so that the voices that were coming into my head and my heart were helping me get to where I needed to go, because I could have easily stayed down. But you're in your 20s. You're in your 30s. You got the rest of your life to live. If what happened at 21, 20, 22 is the best thing that has ever happened to you in your life, and you live to be 80, that's a tough life, right? No. The truth of the matter is you are going to live to be great again. You just got to find what you love again.
The making your essentially like community of people small, I think is such great advice, because like thinking of my own personal challenges or struggles, like you're going through it and you're in your head all day
Oh
long.
yeah, yeah.
The stress of it, the trying to figure it out, like the options and the decisions, and then navigating the risk of it, and then you throw in like family and other obligations, and they depend on you too. And
Yep.
it's just like you're in your head all day long. And if you're surrounding yourself with, like you said, good people, well-meaning people, but
Right.
too many people, now you have 25 different voices in your head. And, mom and dad are going like, well, we always thought that we'd see you like this. And
That's
then,
right.
somebody else is like, well, you shouldn't do that. You should do this. And everybody means well, but there's too much chatter going on.
Yep.
And so I love this idea of contracting that community and saying, like, almost creating like a personal cabinet of people
Right.
to be like, you are my 6 most trusted people.
Right.
Because I know that you love me. I know that you give qualified advice, that you'll check me when I'm doing something wrong,
Yeah.
give me a valuable perspective, and this is who I'm going to listen to until I figure that out. That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's what I did. I went from it takes a village to raise a child to honoring the village, saying thank you, village. But I can't listen to all the voices coming out the village. It took a thank you, village, for raising the child. To it takes a small room of people to help the man who I am right now.
Speaking of villages and raising children, we're both twin dads.
Yes.
Wild.
Yeah,
Isn't it
man,
wild?
yeah.
Isn't it such a wild trip?
Yeah, yeah. And you are a twin,
And I am a twin.
and my wife is a twin.
Is she really?
Yes.
Wow, you're the first like back-to-back generational twin parents that I've met. Because
Really?
usually it's like, oh, it skips a generation,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
go, and look at us,
Yeah.
like winning the genetic
That's
lottery.
right.
Is
You
what
see
this
that?
is.
It was meant to be, man.
Yeah, tell me about your kids.
My oldest child is Brianna. Brianna's 22. She just graduated from Central Michigan. She's going to school to be a veterinarian next. My second oldest is Destiny. Destiny is 18. She attends Central Michigan. She's in her second year. And then I had this wonderful idea. Told my wife, let's have more babies. And my wife said, we ain't having no more babies. And I told her, I said, don't make me pray, Delisha. And she said, I don't care who you pray to. Okay, we ain't having no more babies. And I prayed. And my wife had a set of twins. And now in our 50s, 53 now, I go, every now and then I threaten her. I go, don't make me pray.
It's so funny because we originally we wanted multiple kids.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, wouldn't this be great if the first time around we had twins, and then we were just kind of done.
Yeah.
You get a little 2-for-1 deal. And then we had our 7-year-old Evelyn.
Uh-huh.
And eventually we decided that Evelyn really we of course wanted more kids.
Yeah.
But we also really wanted more kids for Evelyn because
Right.
she needs people.
Yes.
Like she's social. She's friendly. She wants to talk to everybody. And like you could tell like desperately one of the greatest gifts we could give to her was having siblings. And lo and behold, we found out we were pregnant. My wife goes to the first OB. I'm at a photo shoot at McLaren Bay Region, and I'm riding up the elevator surrounded by all these doctors that I'm taking photos of, and the phone rings, and it's my wife. And I was like, guys, I gotta take this. She's at the OB. And so I pick up the phone, and I go, hey, how's it going? And she says, Phil, I'm not joking with you. This is not a prank in any way. I'm not bullshitting you. Like, this is absolutely the truth, but there are two.
That's wild.
And she said, as soon as they put the ultrasound thing on her, she saw baby A and baby B, and there's Nora and Penelope.
She started the conversation off that way. Let me just say, I'm not joking with you.
I'm not lying to you, straight up. So one of the other quotes that I really loved from our first conversation was in regards to fatherhood. And you said, I think back to what type of father I wanted to be before I actually had kids. And I had this image of being Superman.
Yeah.
Now that I have kids, I realize that very rarely do my kids need Superman.
True.
Most of the time, they just need Clark Kent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me what you mean by that.
And particularly growing up without a dad. Okay, I grew up without a father, and for the period that my dad was around, very violent person. Was not a good situation. So you grow up wanting to set a new standard, to create this different legacy, and in my mind, what that looked like was everything my dad was not. That picture was a picture of Superman. And so I went into fatherhood thinking my kids needed me to be that at all times. And the truth of the matter was that they just didn't need Superman that often. They just needed to know that when they needed me to be Superman, I could be that. Most often, they needed Clark Kent tossing a football in the backyard, dancing in the back room with them to songs, watching them as they spin around in a circle in the dress and say, "Daddy, look, how do I look? Do I look pretty?" And I say, "Sweetheart, you look absolutely beautiful." Or me grabbing them by their hands, my daughters, and they're standing on my shoes, right? And we're dancing, and they got on their dresses. And that's what they needed. They needed Clark Kent so much more than they ever needed Superman. And even now, my oldest at 22, Brianna, Destiny, and Brian and Diamond. But even, Brianna, even at 22, so often, man, I can't tell you that cape doesn't get nearly as much use as I would like to have used it. I'm like, come on, guys, give me a reason to go pull out my Batman suit.
Yeah. I want to show you what I'm made of.
I want to show you what I'm made of. And they just look at you like, we'll let you know when we need them. We'll let you know. And I'll tell you this, though. I have had to learn to get more comfortable with Clark. I have had
Tell me more about that.
I think you grow up as a little boy, you got the superhero complex.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I can see it in my own son. Okay.
Yeah, especially if you grow up talented and like you have the entire world saying like you're the next big one, the next big one, you're doing so good, like people wearing your jersey, like you are the superhero.
Right. Don't need it. They don't need it. And I've had to learn to take that cape off, because what happens is, and I've learned this the hard way, Phil. What happens is I was trying to be what they didn't need, and it comes off as overbearing. So you're right, and it's more because the situation isn't appropriate. Okay, I don't need. Where's Clark? I just need you to show up to my game. I just need, and when you show up to the game, I don't need you in that Superman outfit.
Yeah.
I just need Clark and his tie.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to be the loudest person in the crowd. You don't have to be screaming your face off. Like, you don't have to be up there making sure that everybody in the gym sees.
Just be there.
Yeah.
And I can say this, and fatherhood has been we talk about the becoming.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It has been a beautiful becoming. It's grown me up. It has humbled me. It has humbled me, and it's grown me up. It's matured me. I tell you just being there, being present is what they need more than anything, right? And so I say to people, man, I know I'm raising kids. I'm just not sure sometimes if my kids realize that they have also raised a father. And that sounds a little crazy. It sounds a little unbalanced. But the truth is as men, we are becoming. We're still, even as a dad. When my daughter turns 23, I've never fathered a 23-year-old before. That'll take some becoming.
It's true,
right?
As soon as you learn the playbook, the game changes.
The game is always changing, and so you're always calling audibles. Okay, you're always Idaho, Wyoming. You're always calling some type of an audible, and you learn that's okay.
Yeah.
At some point, you're gonna have to throw most of these plays out.
Yeah. What you're saying, I think, is perfect.
Yeah.
Because, like, I was just talking to a friend about this. Like, when we had Evelyn, it was obviously life changes.
Yeah.
Like you have you have a child and your life is different.
Right.
But there was just one of them. And to a certain extent, like I still had both hands on the wheel of whatever life it was I thought I was living at the time.
Yeah.
Only it was like my life plus now I had a kid.
Right.
And so like, welcome to my life, child. And like that's really what I was thinking looking back on it.
Yep.
And then when we had the twins, that was really the torpedo that God said through the water and said, like, whatever you thought before, like, I'm going to show you that you're wrong.
Yes.
And it just, like, blew everything apart.
Yep.
And and I still didn't get it right in that moment because I remember also kind of feeling similarly, like, okay, this is going to be a little bit more complicated now,
Yeah.
but we'll be able to manage, and I'll just be able to travel for work as much as I did and do all of these other things. And none of that is true. Like, none of that was true. Like, it was like I was heading into a completely different life than what I thought I was.
Right.
And I tell people that becoming a father has been the greatest gift to my own self-development that I could have asked for.
Right.
Because it was like so much, and I think we're similar. Like you're trying to think deep thoughts, and you're trying to grow as a person, and you're trying to read books, and you're trying to, you talk, listening to the gurus and all, everybody. You're just trying to be a better human, and that is important. But it can also really make you self-centered.
Yes.
And everything like revolves around you, and it can become selfishness.
Yes. Yep.
And what kids do is it forces you to not be selfish anymore.
That's right.
You have a decision. Like, is it about you,
Right.
or is it about us?
Yeah.
And every day you're confronted with making that decision. Like, you go home after a long day of work, and it can be really easy to just say, like, guys, I can't hang out with you right now. Like, I gotta go lay down. I gotta go doom scroll on my phone for 2.5 hours or whatever it is we like make excuses for. But having those kids show up at that door every day, it confronts you with a choice.
Yeah.
Like, is it about you or is it about us?
That's right.
And it has been the best thing. And like, I think about the person that I would have been not becoming a father, and like things could have gone better than what I assumed, but I don't know if I would like that person. Like, I just, like, it would all up in my head, all about me all the time. And now I've really been given this gift of having to care for these beautiful little girls and become a father.
You're in the becoming. And I'll say this. Some of the greatest teachers in my life, it's my family.
Yeah. Yep.
I live with 5 mirrors.
Yeah. Yep.
I live with 5 mirrors in which I can see my reflection, in which I can see my blind spots.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm sincere and if I'm wise, whatever I see in those mirrors, I'm going to see some things I like about Brian Pruitt.
Yeah.
I'm going to see some things I don't like about Brian Pruitt.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see some things that need to change about Brian Pruitt. And I can only see those in the 5 mirrors that I live with in my house.
Mm.
And I believe God does it that way. He gives you a few mirrors so you can see your blind spots and become a better person.
Yeah. I think that speaks to folks who might be listening to this that are similarly minded. They're trying to be better people, and they're reading all the books and trying to get better habits and all of those things. And all of those things are important, and I still do them.
Yes.
But how you really grow as a person is on an individual basis.
That's right.
And so you need the people immediately in your life saying, like, hey, bro.
Yeah.
My daughter, just a couple weeks ago, she like, we were drawing something, or she was describing, like, drawing her dad at school, or she's like, yeah, and I drew you with a beard and bloodshot eyes, and I was like, and bloodshot, like
Right,
that's
right.
how you see, like
Yeah.
that's how you see me, this like as tired.
Yes.
And that really checked me because it was honest.
Yes.
Like there was no, like she didn't mean anything by
No.
it.
Nope.
She's not trying to manipulate me or anything. Like she just said, like, this is what I see.
Yep.
And that moment sticks out. One time when she was younger, she said something like why, like, do you love your phone more than me?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like,
Yep.
I mean, I unfortunately I probably tried to rationalize my
Right,
like,
right,
well,
yeah,
I'm working
yeah,
on,
like we-
I'm
yeah.
doing something important.
Dad's
right.
buying you something.
Yeah, I'm buying you a gift on Amazon,
right.
you know, or whatever. But I knew, like, she cut right to the truth.
Well, kids do that, right?
Yeah, they do.
And I could, and I don't know of a dad or a mom who hasn't had those experiences, including myself, right?
Yeah.
Where your kid says something to you that is so sobering that you go, I don't know if I could even receive that from anybody else but my kid.
Yep.
And if I'm wise, I'll listen
Yep.
right now, and not blow that off. But I tell you what an opportunity to grow.
Yep.
What an opportunity to grow.
It is.
And it's not always fun to grow,
Mm-hmm.
but what an opportunity to grow as a person.
Yeah, I mean, like, talking about the phone thing, on average, we spend 6.5 hours a day on our phones.
Right, easily.
Every single
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
And like, you are what you do.
Yes.
And so if you extrapolate that to the rest of your life, like, what are your deathbed memories
Yes.
anymore?
Yes.
Like, because you spent most of your waking life scrolling through your phone.
Yeah.
And so in essence, like, your kid saying something like, do you love your phone more than me because you're on it all the time?
Right.
Like, is essentially saving your life.
Right.
Saying, like, hey, you have a right now, you have to make a decision if this is going to be your life or, like, we're going to be your life.
That's right.
And you got to listen. You have to do yourself a favor and listen to that, even though it hurts and it stings and like you feel shame and embarrassment, or you want to fight against that and rationalize it or whatever. Like, you just got to take it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Another quote that she had in our first conversation, and this kind of ties these two ideas of failure, feeling like a failure, and fatherhood. You said, to fathers, I'll say that the life you're living today is the legacy that you're leaving for tomorrow. What you do today matters. How you treat your kid today matters.
Yeah.
We can't be perfect fathers, but we can be persistent fathers.
Yeah. You get up and you fight for it every day. You're not going to be a perfect father. But it should never be said that you are not a persistent one. My kids don't live with a perfect father. If they were sitting right here, they'd tell you that.
Yeah, they'd be like, Dad, you don't do any of this.
Right. It's like, you're doing a podcast.
You're teaching them about what?
Right. But what they would say is, we know in the morning he's gonna be there and we're gonna get up and we're gonna try this again.
Yeah.
He ain't going nowhere. He's persistent. And that's what I want them to be able to say. You don't live with a perfect man. You live with a persistent man. I'm going to be here tomorrow. I'm going to love you tomorrow. I'm going to show you who you should marry tomorrow. I'm going to show you the type of man you need to grow up to be tomorrow. We'll do this all over again tomorrow because I'm persistent, right? And I'm not going anywhere. And so that's what matters. And I know that now working, I've seen both sides of this thing. Growing up without a dad, working with young men without fathers, dealing with men who had no dads, who are now dads. And so that whole model of the life you're living today is the legacy you are leaving for tomorrow. It is such a powerful statement because it makes us responsible for the moment. It makes us responsible for today. God forbid if I walk out of this room today and something happens to me, the life I've lived is the legacy I've left. I don't get to change that. So today matters. Even if today means I got to look at my kid and go, hey, Dad needs to apologize to you for the way I responded or the way I did something. That's okay too, because I taught my kid something in that moment as well.
That persistence, I think, ties to what we were talking about at the beginning in regards to communities. Consistency changes communities.
Right.
And I think persistence within a relationship really determines the quality of that relationship. Like I'm thinking about times where like a let's say it's an uncle that you don't really have a good relationship
Yeah,
with, or
yeah,
you don't talk very often, but then like on your birthday you get a phone call and it's like, hey, I'm gonna send you a gift and how have you
yeah,
been, and all this other stuff. Like it almost wells up in you as like resentment,
right.
like Superman,
Yeah, yeah.
like you don't have to overdo it right now because you weren't.
Overcompensating.
Yeah, like you're overcompensating. Like if you were just consistent, like
Right.
things would be good, and like we'd have a relationship and that would feel good.
Yes.
But jumping in and saying like, well, once a year I'm going to try really hard, or
Yeah.
once a month I'm going to try really hard, like kids pick up on that. They may not be able to verbalize that.
Right.
They're not going to say, well, 17 out of the last 30 days you showed up for me. No, they're
Yeah.
just going to get a feeling like,
Yeah.
can I depend on you as a human being?
Mhm.
And that just takes showing up. It doesn't mean being perfect. It
That's
doesn't
right.
mean like wow, like you win Dad of the Year. It just means being, like you said, being persistent. Every day you show up and you try better and you try better and you try better and you become a father.
That's right. You just keep becoming. You don't give up. You don't quit. You stay in the fight, and you win what I call the away games.
Oh yeah.
The home games are the great days. And anybody can, it's like there are some days where you go, man, today was a home game. This was a great day.
Yeah. You're like walking out of the house like, yeah, I did it. Look,
That's
Dad
right.
of the
That's
Year,
right.
baby.
Yeah, yeah.
Had the best weekend ever. Yeah.
And then there are those moments where you go, today was an away game.
Yeah.
It was an away game.
Yeah.
But
that was my Sunday. I had an away game
right.
Sunday.
But I tell you what, Phil, I've learned and I'm still learning, even from the analogy of football, the importance of being able to either win the away games or bounce back from them quickly when you don't. Right.
Because they can kind of fester and repeat.
Yep.
Too, what I noticed too, like I just mentioned, like Sunday was my away game. Like everybody has been sick in the house for days and days and days, and we're all cooped up, and we're having some really good days. And then Sunday, I was just kind of over it.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, I don't want to get another juice box for you, and like
right.
Whatever it is. And so, but then I was also thinking about it, like if you're not self-aware enough to admit that happened and you did not do this right. And when you feel that way next time, you got to do better.
Yes.
Like next Sunday could be the same situation.
Right.
Like you dwell on that frustration or whatever emotion it is, and then it just comes to the surface, and then you look like you just lost another one.
Yeah. And those are the moments, man. I tell you, it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. But what I challenge dads to do, hey, persistent. Keep going. Get back up. Keep going. There's still time on the clock. You can run another play. As long as there's time on that clock, run another play. Run another play until life shows up and says, it's time for you to get in your victory formation.
Yeah.
just keep running plays, man.
Just keep running plays. One of the plays that you have kept running for 30 years is the marriage to your wife.
Yes.
And so you're 3 decades into your marriage. Like what to you? I mean, you kind of mentioned this idea of like becoming.
Yeah.
Like, are there other keys to like looking back on 3 decades and saying like, like this is why we made it, and this is why we love each other still? And
certainly.
Talk to me about that.
Certainly. Number one. Number one, she would say it if she was here too. Forgiveness. For you married to somebody for 30 years, you're gonna say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You're gonna say the wrong thing,
Yeah.
or you're going to say it in the right thing in the wrong tone.
Yeah.
You're going to do some things that brings that person joy. You're going to do some things that at times, whether intentional or unintentionally, that hurts that person. And the same will happen to you. That's the risk you take when you look at somebody and say, and to death does us part. I love you. I do. You're saying you're the person that I choose to be open to these things happening to me. Okay? because they're not perfect. They're persistent. And so these things are going to happen anytime you say you love anybody, because that requires trust. That requires opening up your heart. And the deeper you open up your heart and the deeper you trust, the more beautiful the relationship is. But also, it also leaves you more susceptible to being hurt, right? So Delisha and I both would say forgiveness is the number one thing that we have used to get to this point. And that doesn't mean we walk around all day, with a marriage, in marriage shanking one another, but but it does mean we live in the same house.
Yeah.
We are human beings. Things get said, things get done, people get hurt at times. And people have great moments at times as well too in our house, right? The right things are said. But it's not those times that end up ruining relationships. It's the times when you can't forgive. And you can't forget, and all of a sudden you find yourself there's so many unforgiveness issues that the person you once loved has become your roommate, and that's all you are, your roommates. And if children are involved, all you're doing is raising kids, and at some point you're staying together for the kids, right? And what I can say is this. Every marriage will come and have those crossroads. Every marriage will have those options. And you will have those options many of times in your marriage. And so what you have to do is settle in your heart. I am going to give you the grace that I am probably going to need tomorrow. I'm going to forgive you today because I know me, and I'm probably going to need forgiveness tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, like you talked, I think you used the word humility earlier, and I think like such an important part of forgiveness is humility, is this understanding like I'm going to screw up, and I have screwed up, and I will continue to screw up, and so who am I to withhold forgiveness from somebody else?
Right.
Like it doesn't make any sense.
Think about that. Right.
Something that you said, like it just made my brain explode about when you're talking about vows, and you said something like you are the person that I am willing to be hurt by.
Right.
And I love that so much because we get either intentionally or unintentionally really infatuated with like the positive side of love. It makes me feel good. It makes us feel good. And there's gonna be bumps along the road, but we'll get through them because we love each other. Yes. Gosh dang it, like that kind of thing. But like that is such an act of love.
It is
saying to another person like, I choose you.
Yes.
And you are the person that I am willing to be hurt by.
Right.
And I think that is such an incredible way of like really stating the realness of like a deep relationship with another person, because it's not self-centered. Like, well, you make me the best version of me, which it can be great. And that's very true.
Yes.
But it also really acknowledges that this gesture of vulnerability where like I'm willing to be hurt by you, and I know I will be, and I'm okay with that,
right?
Because I love you. Like, man,
yes,
it doesn't get any deeper than that.
It's a different level, and it's not because you've come to a place where you trust that that's not their intent.
Yes.
You've come to the place. In most marriages, what happens is you begin to not trust the intent of the person. Well, I know you tried to say that. That's what you always do. When we come to a place where we begin to realize that person loves me, they do not intend to hurt me. They want what's best for me. I don't even intend to hurt them. I want what's best for them. But if and when it happens, we're going to be okay. Because I know that's not your intent. You love me, and I love you. Okay, and this is, again, the becoming. If you're going to tell somebody you love them, you're going to go through this process with somebody.
True.
So choose who that's going to be.
It's true. And even like outside of like romantic relationships, like if you're talking about like, again, the cultural conversation is friends and the importance of friendships and deep friendships and like male to male friendships and like men, like, we have to be willing to, like, go through these phases with our friends
That's
as
right.
well. Like,
That's
like
right.
sometimes you guys are going to be vibing and things are really good, and then they're going to say something. They're like, and it's going to be really easy to not text them back for the
Right,
next
right.
2.5
That's right.
years.
That's right.
You know, because
Yeah.
like you're separated by the phones, and you can just cut that person off, and you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like you cannot do that. You got to run two important relationships and not away from them.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to talk about one more thing.
Yes.
The leadership part of all of this.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about being better husbands and being better fathers
Yeah.
and community members and human beings. Like, how do all of those things relate to this idea of leadership? When you
Yeah.
think about leaders and leadership, like, what are the important ideas to you? What makes a good leader? What is good leadership?
Yeah. When I talk of leadership, when I'm in a corporate situation, I'm speaking leadership. What I know is this: I know there are human beings out there, regardless of their titles. Some of them would serve divorce papers the night before. Some of them don't even know, haven't seen their child. They don't know they don't know where their kid has been the last 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them have gotten a call from the doctor to tell them that their life just changed. They're humans with titles. And what happens is we make the mistake in corporate America of thinking that people's home life don't affect their work life. And I don't care what anybody says. It does, right? And then the idea of, I don't go into workplaces to teach leadership principles that can only be used at work.
Oh, yeah.
I walk into organizations to teach leadership principles that you can take to work and then you can take home. It'll work in your relationship with your significant other. It'll work in your relationship with your children. It's a deeper thought because I can use this in the big picture of my life. So not only do you need me to be a leader in this workplace, the truth of the matter is I'm not taking a leadership hat off when I go home.
Mm-hmm.
My family needs me to be a leader, okay? Your wife needs you to be a leader. Your husband needs you to be a leader. Your kids need you to be the leader. You walk out of your front door and you got a community that's in need and you are one of the people that serve that community.
Mm-hmm.
Your community needs you to be a leader. So we teach principles, leadership principles that you can take home with you and they'll work in the workplace and at home.
That to me is so brilliant because you go to these keynotes or you go to these half-day workshops, leadership focused, and it never makes sense to me because, like, here we are, like you said, like, we're divorcing the fact that these are human beings in the room,
Right.
and we're treating them like, well, you're a C-suite executive and
Right.
like, this is how you should interact, and I'm
That's
thinking,
right.
like, well, isn't this how people should interact?
Right.
Like, shouldn't we be talking about that?
Yes,
Because
yeah.
then that's going to resonate with everybody. But we're talking to people like they're little pawns on a chessboard,
Right.
and it doesn't make any sense. But principles, if they're true, are true regardless of context.
That's right.
And so, like you said, like if there are leadership principles in a multi-billion-dollar corporation,
Yes.
there are principles in how you enter your house at the end of the day,
That is
or the board that you're on, or the volunteer group that you're like. The principles are true regardless of context. So I love what you're talking, and I love what you're talking about in regards to like the people side of it. Like
Yeah.
we are all human beings
We're-
with emotions and with relationships and lives, and you can't say, well, we're talking like business people today, because like they're human beings.
That's what they are. They are human beings who are going to go home and take off this title, okay? But there's still going to be a requirement to be a leader, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You just got to teach stuff that they can use in the full circle of their life. And then within the corporate setting, what I try to teach is this. Everybody's a leader. Now, you can talk about C-suite, you can talk about all these things, right? Everybody's a leader. Leadership is influence. If you have influence, you are a leader, and you want everybody in your organization to operate as a leader. I call it a leadership train. You may be on different parts of the train, different seats on the train, But everybody on that train, believe me, is valuable.
I just pulled up another Simon Sinek quote that I love.
Yeah.
He says, "There's a difference between having a position of leadership and being a leader. I know many people in very senior positions, but they aren't leaders.
Right.
They have authority, but they are not leaders.
Yep.
I know many people in no position of rank or authority, but they've made a choice to look after the people to the left of them
Yep.
and to the right of them, and we would trust and follow them anywhere.
Yeah.
Leadership is not a rank, it's a choice."
That's right. That's right. That right there, that's a mic drop statement, what Simon says there. It's true. I tell people, listen, if you're at the front of the train, you would be unwise to ignore the people in the middle and in the back of that train.
Yep.
Because they have a view from the seat they're in that you cannot see.
Yeah, and if they go off the rails, that whole train goes off the rails. Like, you don't keep chugging along. Like, that entire thing is going into the river if you lose the caboose.
Most of the people in your organization is sitting in the middle of that train.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you don't hear what they're saying to you as they're speaking to you about what they can see from their perspective on that train, your train may get to its destination, but I'm going to tell you what, the cargo will be damaged and the people will be damaged.
Yeah.
And you have to ask yourself as a leader, was that journey worth it? And I hope the answer was no.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good.
Or you can listen to the people all the way through the train, and they'll also realize that you have a view that they don't have and a perspective that they don't have because of your seat on the train. And everybody's respecting the view, the blind spots that they have because of where they're at on the train. You make it to your destination, the people are whole, and the cargo's intact.
So tell me what you think about this, because like I love that what you're saying about the as a leader, you have to embrace the perspective of the people in the middle.
Yeah.
And then also the people in the middle have to respect the perspective of the leader. And what I think makes that possible, that acceptance and that respect and that mutual trust, is relationship.
Oh, yeah.
If the relationship doesn't, or that the ability, the potential of that is determined by the quality of the relationship between the people, and then that goes to your idea of these are human beings with human needs, and so like we need to meet each other as human beings and develop that relationship, because then the world is our oyster. Now we can have conversations that would make people quit their jobs in other places because we understand that there's a human being sitting across from me who has my best interest in mind, and they're saying things that I don't agree with or that are coming for me specifically, but I understand that we have a relationship here first. And I think about that all the time in communities. Like we have community groups and government and political leaders and grassroots leaders and all of the people that are, I think, mean well and are likely right.
Yes.
But we jump into like the politics of things or the outcomes of things or the consequences of things or the policy side of things before we try to develop a relationship first. And then it's just like you said, like we have 25 people all trying, like barking at everybody, trying like, well, you should do this, you should do this. And then nothing ever gets done. And we're all very frustrated. And the good things end up being mediocre things, or bad things are not done. And I think we would just be better if we said, we have to approach this relationship human first, than to like start dictating things. Like, I think the relationship comes first.
You got to build relationship. I like to think of it. I'm not responsible for this quote, but I've heard it, that we have to remember that these are human beings, not human doings. It's like we just want them to do, but they're human beings, right? And they have things happening in their lives. And again, you cannot tell me, I don't care what anybody says, if home ain't right, I am not my best at work.
It's true.
I am not. I don't care who you are. You're not. You're not gonna walk in here and give me your A+ best if last night was hell on earth at the house.
Yep. Yeah.
That's hard to do.
Even like, and you take that a step further into the workplace, if the emotional environment of the workplace
Yes.
is not right,
Culture.
you are not getting what you could get out of your team, because now now your team is scared because you're the mean one, but you think like, I'm the straight shooter. Like,
Yeah.
we don't have time to beat around the bush. I
Right.
tell people I'm being honest, and your entire team is afraid of you
Yes.
because not motivated by empowerment or by accomplishment or like whatever it is. They're motivated by fear.
Yes. They work for a bully at that point.
Yeah.
And you don't want to motivate, because what do you do when they're no longer scared?
Oh yeah.
And then the next thing is people don't work in cultures like that for long. They start looking.
true.
They start looking for a way to get out. What happens is you're having anxiety attacks
Mm-hmm.
on Friday night. You don't even have to go back to work until Monday.
Yes. Right.
By Sunday night, you
Yeah.
just you can't even sleep, right?
Uh-huh.
Because you know what you're about to walk into. That's what you call culture. And when you build a poor culture, you're going to have low retention.
Yep.
Okay, you're going to see people coming and people going because they don't want to stay in that environment for long periods of time. It's just hard to work in those type of
Yeah, or
environments.
they insulate themselves, or
Yes.
like the quiet quitting.
Yeah.
Like well, I can't quit my work, but I'm mentally checking out to
Yep.
protect myself, and I'm going to be there for the next 2 or 3 years. But you're not
Yeah.
the best employee that you can be,
Right.
whoever it is.
Right. I say this, Phil, that if you capture my heart, you can always have my hands.
Oh yeah.
I will go to work for you. I will. What you say? Work starts at 8:30. Okay, I'll be here at 8.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you say work gets out at 5:30. Okay, you know what? I know it's 5:30, but I'm going to finish this up. Are you okay if I finish this up? Matter of fact, I'm done. Does the other team need hey, you guys need my help with anything?
Mm-hmm.
Because you've captured my heart, you can have my hands. But if you just ignore my heart and demand my hands,
Mm-hmm.
my mentality now becomes, what time is work?
Yeah.
8:30.
Uh-huh.
I'll be here at 8:30. What time do we end? 5:30. I may be shutting down at 5:15. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is we're making demands for hands instead of understanding the power of the heart. If I capture the heart relationship, if I capture their heart, these people will work hard as a team. They will love the culture. They will want to be here. It's very much like sports. You get a coach who understands culture, those kids will run through a wall for them.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I didn't play football in high school my first 2 years, and my sophomore year, varsity football coach comes into the weight room, and I was working out, and he said, my twin brother did play, and he was very good, and he came up to me. He's like, "Have you thought about joining the team?" And the story that I had told myself was I was not a good athlete. I didn't play from grade school like my brother, whatever. That was his thing. This is my thing. And I said no. And he said, well, like, I want you to. And even if you're not good at football, I think we would benefit as a team from who you are as a person.
That's cool.
And I'm going to tell you, like, I joined the team the very next season, and I played my heart out junior and senior year. Like, I was not good.
Yeah.
I wasn't bad, but I sacrificed myself on that field because of that moment that Professor Gillespie said, like, because of who you are as a person.
That's
because
cool.
he spoke right to that, what you're talking about. Like, it wasn't like, well, I see potential in you as an offensive lineman. Because I could have, like what potential? Like, I know you're jerking my chain.
Yeah.
But he spoke right to me as a person. And like you said, like, I would have ran through a brick wall for that guy because he spoke to me as a human being first and as a potential football player second.
Yeah, and people do the same thing in corporate.
Yep.
If you'll treat them with dignity, respect, if you'll build relationships along the way, that if you'll do those things, man, you'd be amazed on what they'll show up to do for you, work hands wise, right? But it's got to be driven from their heart, and you got to capture their hearts first. The heart does matter.
Well, Brian Pruitt, I want to say that you have captured my heart
Well,
again.
thank you, Phil. Appreciate it, man. I love having conversations.
I do
with you.
too.
We always have a great time, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We do. If people are watching this or listening to this and they want to know more about you or reach out to you or in some, like, how would they do that?
PruittMotivational.com or PruittMotivational.org. They can reach out to us.
Okay.
And or PowerDad.org.
Yeah.
You know, and either one of those ways through our website, they can reach out to us. PruittMotivational.com or PowerDad.org.
Do it, people. Brian Pruitt, he's one of the best. Brian
you.
Pruitt, you're one of the best. I want to thank you so much for this
Thank you.
conversation, my dude.
Thank you, my friend. You keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing in our community. And as stated, you are consistent and you're building bridges. I appreciate that. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yep.
You're awesome.
Thank you, Phil.
You're awesome. I love this conversation.
I love talking with you, man. You're good at this stuff because you would know this. It's not so much always who's on the other side of the mic or camera. Sometimes it's who's on that side of it that makes somebody so comfortable that they can just be themselves and talk.
I think I look at conversations like a spiritual practice.
Yeah.
Because there is so much of that, and it's cyclical. Because like you say things that like make something bubble up inside of me that I never would have thought about. Like this what you said about like I'm choosing you, and because I'm ready to be hurt by you.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm willing
yeah,
to be hurt by
yeah.
you. Like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
like that is so right. And then that cycles back into this conversation, and I feel like face-to-face conversations like these are this is what changes the world.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Like we spend so much time on this and on social media, and like that's an important part of our lives, and I don't want to just like relentlessly hate on it.
Yeah.
But like this is where the magic happens.
Yeah.
Like neurons in your brain light up
Yeah,
in a completely different way,
Yeah.
and it's just like now you are a human and we are both humans
That's
here,
right, that's
and it's just like it's if there is a chance to change the world,
This is it. Yeah, it's conversations, man. It's having conversations, sitting down and talking. And you're absolutely right. You do a great job at, and that's a gift. You can walk into a room, there can be cameras, you could be the greatest. You could be Denzel Washington. If the other person on the other side of that camera makes you feel uncomfortable,
It's true.
Denzel's not Denzel.
It's true.
It's a gift to be able to make somebody feel comfortable enough in that moment where they can have those type of conversations, right? Gail King does it too. You know, where you go, Oprah does it.
Yeah.
We got Phil.
Yeah.
we got Phil,
And we got
man.
Brian Pruitt.
We got Phil, man.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.